Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way where you can fix peeling clear coat on your vehicle's finish. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's what we're talking about. We have a little spot here where it's starting to peel, and I'll get a close-up so you can see exactly what it looks like, and then we'll prep it and then we'll apply the clear coat to it. You can see it here. It's got dirt and all in it right now, but we're going to clean that out, but it's flaking up a little bit. So let's clean it so we can get a better look at it. There you can see it. We've cleaned it out real good, but you can see the clear coat right there is breaking away. And if that's not addressed, then that's going to start to spread and turn into a bigger issue. So you want to catch those before it's too late. Let's see if we can move this way. You can see it become like that. You can see it there as well. But the first thing we're going to do is take our 400 grit sandpaper, smooth that out so we can put a clear coat on it. So this is what I'm going to be using. First of all, I have two different wet sandpapers here. We have a 400 grit. You can use either 4 or 600. I don't have 600, so we're going to go with 4. That's going to be just for the initial sanding on the surface where we can get rid of all the loose clear coat and get it nice and smooth before we apply the clear coat. Then I have 1000 grit sandpaper here, wet sandpaper. When we're all done, we're going to use that to lightly sand around the overspray area to blend that nicely so you don't have that kind of that dusty spray around the edges of the area. And then for the clear coat, you can pick up this Duplicolor right here, the Perfect Match clear coat at any automotive store. Or what I'm going to be using, just because this is more common for people to find here, is just a Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover Clear, which will work as well. Now this is if you're doing small spots like we just showed. If you're doing anything bigger, then you want to use a 2-part clear coat where it has the hardener as shown here. This clear coat by Spray Max is a combination of the clear coat plus the hardener. This will give you a more professional finish. If you want to see my product review on this, you can check it out via the link above. I'll also have it down in the description. But this will give you a more longer lasting finish than the regular spray can that we're using in this video. So for this video, as I mentioned, I'm going with this. This is something you can pick up at Walmart or anywhere. It's less expensive and more easily accessible to find than this one here. So we're going to use this as our clear coat. So let's head over to the areas and we'll start getting them all prepped and ready for the clear coat application. Using our 400 wet sandpaper, we'll sand that nice and smooth. You want to focus just on that area. You don't want to be scuffing up areas that don't need it. And you don't want to go press down too hard to where you dig into the paint. You really just want to smooth out that area there. Oh yeah, it's nice and smooth. Let's clean that off and then we'll be back to take a look at it. Clean it off and dry it real good. We'll let that dry and then we'll be back to start applying the clear coat. Everything is dried and you can see where it's scuffed right here where I was sanding it, but you'll also notice, and I'll show a close-up, we don't have any more of that peeled up kind of border. Everything's been smoothed down, so when we apply the new clear coat, it'll be nice and smooth. But here's a close-up. As you can see, right in here was where it was all peeled up. It's all been smoothed down. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this 2x Ultra Clear Gloss by Rust-Oleum. Now we're not going to pile it on thick. We're just going to do a light dusting, just overlap like 1 and 2. Let it dry a little bit. Then we'll come back and do another coat. Let that dry completely, and then we'll be back with our 1000 grit sandpaper to just smooth in around the edges where we had the overspray, and everything should look beautiful. And I've also cleaned the surrounding area. You can mask it off if you want, but I just cleaned that whole area. That way if any overspray goes out, it's not falling on dirt. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Just a slight overlap like that. Let that dry for about a minute or two and give the next coat. And then we'll let it set the proper amount of time and then come back tomorrow to light sand around it and blend it in. Everything is looking good. I'm going to show you a close-up here. It's still wet though, and then we're going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow, let it properly harden, and then we will use the 1000 grit sandpaper to smooth it all and blend it up, and then that'll wrap this up. You can see how nice and smooth it is, how it's even enhancing the metallic paint again. But if we look here, you can see the little bit of the overspray dusting that we're going to remove with the 1000 grit tomorrow. But it's looking really good. We are back. It's now day 2. It's been a little over 24 hours, so it's had time to properly cure. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take some 1000 grit wet sandpaper. We're not going to sand the whole thing. We're just going to go along the edges, and I'll show you a close-up. You can see where it kind of fanned out. That's what we're trying to remove. After that's done, I'm going to polish it by hand because in this video I'm trying to show how any person can do it without any special tools. However, if you do have access to a polisher, whether it be an electric, pneumatic, whatever, that helps a lot because you can buff it real good and polish it. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to do it by hand. We'll put this off to the side then, since we're not using that. Let's get a close-up so you can see what we're going to be sanding off, and then we'll apply some water to it and take the wet sandpaper and clean that up. As the light's hitting it, you can see right there where you have like that overspray that went on it out here as well. That's what we're going to be removing. Just lightly sanding that smooth and then polishing that up to a nice shiny finish so that way it will match what's existing and then the new. Spray some water around here. And we want it nice and smooth so it'll polish nice and clear. Blend it real good. Just came around here. And you can almost see where the water's beating up is showing us exactly where it is. Drying it off here, and it looks really good. Still has a little bit of an edge. I know I mentioned already in this video we're doing 1000 grit, which we are, but I'm going to move up to 1500 as well, just to smooth it out a little bit more. So we'll spray in the same area where we were. And now we'll use our 1500 just to smooth it out a little bit more. Oh yeah, now that feels real nice and smooth. Well, a little bit right here. Hit that a little bit. But here on this side, it's blended really good. Okay. Dry this off real good. I have a little bit of polish here we're going to use and just go in a circular motion. Really polish it good. And because we're not using any power tools, we're going to have to use a lot of elbow grease on here to get it polished. If you do have a buffer, pneumatic or electric, it will make your life a lot easier. It's actually shining up very nicely. It's looking very good. Let me get a close-up of it so you can see it. Everything is nice and shiny. Right here is where the damage was originally. You can see it. No remnants at all. Everything is blended really nice in here. You can see it here. All nice and shiny all around here, polished. No trace of it at all. Look how nice and shiny that is. Beautiful. Well, that wraps up this video on how to fix peeling clear coat. As mentioned in the beginning, you want to catch it when it's small like this. This was just a little spot. It's easier to fix it at that point. If you let it get out of control, then you wind up with a bigger thing. It starts flaking off, and in sometimes if it's really bad, you're going to have to wind up actually repainting, maybe not the whole vehicle, but in a case like this, maybe the whole hood or the fender or the door, whatever the case may be. But if you catch it small enough, you can just pinpoint right on that little spot and be done with it. So I hope that this video was informative for you. I hope it helped you out with any issues you might be dealing with your vehicle with the finish. If you have any questions or comments, please send them in. I would love to hear from you. And as always, I appreciate all the support. So please like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.